Hello, everybody. I apologize for not being there earlier, but my schedule allows me to bring you an update on one of the most extraordinary events I've ever witnessed in my entire life. A absolute standoff screaming match at one point between President Vladimir Zelensky of Ukraine, President Donald Trump of the United States, and Vice President JD Vance. President Zelensky openly antagonistic, lecturing, disrespectful to President Trump, to Vice President Vance, basically getting to an argument over whether Ukraine has manpower problems in the field. At one point, President Trump telling him that he is not thankful enough. This is a full 5-minute exchange, and I know that it's long, but we really need to watch it all together, and I will react on the other side. Let's go ahead and start playing it.
He killed our people, and he didn't exchange prisoners. We signed the exchange of prisoners, but he didn't do it. What kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about? What do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you're
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come to the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the president for trying to bring it into this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine? Did you see what problems we have?
I have been to. I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military? And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems, even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless.
You don't
God
know
bless. You will not have war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that.
That's exactly what you're doing.
You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very good. We're going to feel very good and very strong. You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
From the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards. But right now, you don't. Yeah, you're playing cards. You're playing cards. You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country, that's back to you, far more than a lot of people said they should have.
Have you said thank you once this entire meeting? No, in this entire meeting, have you said thank you? You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
Please, you think that if you will speak very loudly about the war,
he's not speaking loudly. He's not speaking loudly. Your country is in big trouble. Wait a minute. No. You've done a lot of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not winning. You're not winning this. You have a damn good chance of coming out okay because of us.
Mr. President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone. And we are thankful. I said thanks.
You haven't been alone. You haven't been alone. We gave you, through this stupid president, $350 billion. We gave you military equipment, and your men are brave, but they had to use our military. If you didn't have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3 days, I heard it from Putin. In 3 days. This is something
maybe less.
In 2 weeks, of course, yes.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this.
Again, just say thank you.
I said a lot of times. Except
that there are disagreements, and let's go litigate those disagreements rather than trying to fight it out in the American media when you're wrong. We know that you're wrong.
But you see, I think it's good for the American people to see what's going on.
I understand.
I think it's very important. That's why I kept this going so long. You have to be thankful. You don't have the cards. You're buried there. Your people are dying. You're running low on soldiers. Listen, you're running low on soldiers. It would be a damn good thing. And then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go and I want this. Look, If you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you, you take it so the bullets stop flying and your men stop getting
Of
killed.
course, we want to stop the war.
But you're saying you don't want a
But I
ceasefire?
said to you,
I want a
with
ceasefire
guarantees.
because you get a ceasefire faster than an agreement.
Ask our people about ceasefire, what they think.
That wasn't
Doesn't
with
matter for
me.
you what-
That
what
wasn't
is-
with me.
It
That was
wasn't
with
you.
a guy named Biden, who was not a smart person.
This
That
is
was
your-
with,
this
that was
is
with
your
Obama.
president. It was your president.
Excuse me, that was with Obama, who gave you sheets, and I gave you javelins.
Yes.
I gave you the javelins to take out all those tanks. Obama gave you sheets. In fact, the statement is Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins.
Okay, so that's about 5 minutes there of it continues, by the way, just so you guys are all aware. It is, again, absolutely one of the most insane things I have ever seen. And already the fallout here in Washington is unbelievable. So President Trump has actually put out a statement after that meeting. Keep in mind that President Zelensky and President Trump were scheduled to have a press conference that began right now. Now, instead, President Trump has actually canceled that press conference. And let me go ahead and put that on the screen. So here we go. New statement from Donald Trump. I have determined that President Zelensky is not ready for peace if America is involved because he feels our involvement gives him a big advantage in negotiations. I don't want advantage. I want peace. He disrespected the United States of America in its cherished Oval Office. He can come back when he is ready for peace. I also want you guys to see this extraordinary photo. This here is a photo of the Ukrainian ambassador with her literal head in her hand at this point of the meeting. This was whenever they turned into a shouting match. So you can see this has been an absolute complete catastrophe for Ukraine. And I just honestly, I'm almost dumbstruck. As I was watching this live and getting text messages from some of my friends before it aired, I thought, oh, I'm sure there was some testy exchange or something. I never in my wildest dreams could have thought that Vladimir Zelensky, a country whose entire existence is guaranteed and is owed to the United States of America, would come to the United States of America, to the Oval Office, and engage in a litigation of, by the way, many lies there, including that Russia is going to attack the United States over Crimea. It's like, yeah, maybe if we give you weapons and continue to have a bombing campaign over there. But I have never seen a foreign leader act like this in my entire time here in Washington. Even contentious relationships, things that I will hear about, backroom meetings and meetings and other things that are off the record or things that happen behind closed doors. I guess that would be somewhat understandable, but something like this to explode out in the public is just simply extraordinary. And already the press conference has been canceled. Keep in mind, again, Zelensky here is coming on the heels of being pressured by Donald Trump over this so-called minerals agreement. And, unfortunately, I haven't even been able to weigh in on this yet, but a friend of the show, Michael Tracy, actually makes a really good point. Even though I had argued in the past for a quote-unquote minerals agreement, something that Tracy makes very clear here, let me go ahead and share his tweet just to give him the credit, is that Trump, after the minerals agreement, had actually confirmed he was going to continue to send arms to Ukraine, saying, yeah, this is literally yesterday. Yeah, we're going to be continuing. We'll have arms to Ukraine. But Zelensky could not resist instigating a completely unnecessary debate with JD Vance and with Donald Trump in the Oval Office, at times insinuating that it was rude to not let him continue to speak. I mean, it's one of those where you hear and you read people. I think I have a decent read on Zelensky. I've always thought he's incredibly arrogant. He's not thankful. JD Vance was entirely correct that Zelensky did come here to the United States in October to campaign with Governor Shapiro for Kamala Harris. He had attacked JD Vance in the past. Okay, whatever. That's politics. But the point is that foreign leaders, who are reliant on the United States may want to stay out of our politics, I guess, unless you're another country, which always seems to get away with that. We'll put that aside for another day. But this is one of those where no matter what your feeling is. And I've seen, how many progressive leftists have felt so outraged and frustrated that the world superpower gets pushed around or treated like they do by the Israel lobby or by the Israeli prime minister. I find that just as outrageous as something like this. I mean, the world superpower, guarantor of your security, the number one country which has given you the overwhelming amount of military aid, more military aid than every other country in the world combined, your entire existence literally is dependent on the United States, and you have an emotionally incontinent, literal childish tantrum in the Oval Office in front of the entire world. Now remember, already the polls have been moving against aid to Ukraine, against Vladimir Zelensky. In the beginning, many Americans felt like, okay, we should arm Ukraine. It's a good thing to do. Over and over again, though, we find a pointlessness. And that's part of where, if you had listened closely, you could hear that Zelensky is still trying to push several things. One, denying the battlefield manpower problems. Two, remember, the average age of the Ukrainian military is 40 years old. Remember also, they refuse to lower their draft age because their prime age male population does not want to serve in the war. Beyond that, we have major military problems for Ukrainians on the battlefield. They haven't made a single major breakthrough in almost 2 years. Combine that with what? The fact is that he is continuing to push this line that if he is not allowed to reclaim 100% of all of Ukraine, that the United States of America will be attacked here at home. That is the deranged fantasy of the most ardent Russiagators. And so, I mean, I honestly, I am still aghast at that entire exchange between Vance, between Trump, and, even on a personal level. If you think about it, let's say you're a leader like the Germans or the UK Prime Minister, Keir Starmer. He was just here. Obviously, he doesn't like Trump and he totally disagrees with him. He's polite in the Oval Office and in a press conference. He conducts himself in a literal diplomatic manner. I mean, to have an outburst like this, perhaps it would even be excusable for the United Kingdom. I mean, the special relationship, it's one of the world's great powers. It is a nuclear armed power in its own right, its own military. They can stand on their own 2 feet. Not well, necessarily, without the United States. But again, this is a country whose entire existence is literally guaranteed by the United States and could fall imminently without the backing of the United States. And it very much seems like President Vladimir Zelensky may have chosen that path. So, yeah, I still can't get over this one. I'm still in shock. I think that the ramifications of that meeting, it will be the single most important event since the invasion of Ukraine in the course of this war, for the future ceasefire negotiations, for whatever future minerals deal or whatever is there. And I can tell you this too, just from purely political way, when that clip is sent and shocked around the world from this or to many others, people who voted for Donald Trump, or even many others who were a little on the fence, didn't know exactly how to think about Ukraine, and they see Vladimir Zelensky like that, they are not going to be supportive at all of continuing their support. So I'll just leave it at that, and I'll see you guys later.